Hey,
Best impersonation of Erwin Corey I've ever heard, Tonloc.
Tasteless, do you mind if I jump in for a second?
No, go ahead, man. Just make my...
I was just going to ask either Darth or Tonloc what their logical defeater for determinism is. Because surely if you hold to a Christian worldview, it follows from that in your view, right, determinism couldn't possibly be. So I'm just interested in what your defeater for that.
Determinism.
I wouldn't waste your time responding to him. He's banned on our server for trolling. Okay, and when somebody shows a chronic behavior of trolling, right, and being just simply a nonstop contrarian, I don't waste my time dealing with him any further, Tonloc. But that's your option.
So you don't have a response to.
So you don't have an answer to my question.
The interesting thing is, you will if you watch entertain your question.
What do you think my worldview is, Tonloc?
Well, whatever it is.
Are you implying that because your worldview does not comport to my worldview, you don't have to answer the question, and that's a valid reason for you to get out of answering? Because that doesn't follow. That's just vacuous.
Vacuous in relation to what system?
Oh, gosh.
Okay. When we speak in respect to philosophy or epistemology, there's a mutual understanding that we're operating on some presupposition. Usually it's the rules of logic, right? To ask what justifies logic, for instance, is just meaningless. It invalidates the entire argument. It becomes so because we have that mutual understanding, when I ask you what your logical defeater for determinism is, and then you say, well, you know, why should I answer that question according to your worldview? You're just dodging the question.
But you haven't justified why I should have to answer questions from your worldview anyway.
I don't think I'm obligated to answer a question when you're responding to a question with a question, right? There's generally an expectation that when somebody asks you a direct question, you answer their question before asking them a question.
But you don't tell me where this obligatory standard arises from. That's the issue.
Tonloc, I'm doubtful you even know what determinism is.
Do you believe in determinism, Tonloc?
It's irrelevant as to whether you can justify what makes me obliged to have to address your question.
Yeah, Tonloc, check your DMs.
So you're just outright refusing to answer the question.
I'm just asking you, why am I obligated to address your questions?
Does anyone in here besides Darth or Tonloc think he's being honest when he asks me what my worldview is in response to a direct, reasonable...
Yeah, sure.
He's not.
Uh-huh. Hey, Tonloc, do you really think that he could give you an obligation that you would say yes to?
I'm just asking how he justifies it from his worldview, whatever that may be.
The obligation?
So yeah. let's explain this real quick, right? I walk up to somebody and I ask them why they're a Christian, right? And their response to that question, according to Tonloc, could reasonably be, well, before I answer that question, I need to know what you are, right? That, to Tonloc, is a perfectly valid and reasonable way to respond to a direct question.
Yeah, of course.
Except it's not, because that's two things simultaneously, right? Number one, that's dodging the question.
Still reasonable.
Number two, that's being dishonest. Because he knows.
Listen,
excuse me. Right.
Still reasonable.
Right. Listen to me. Right. He's very acutely aware of why I'm asking the question, and he's definitely aware that there's no contradiction in asking the question necessarily. Right. So when he says, "What's your worldview?" in response to a question, he's just dodging the question. And furthermore,
sure, but it could still be reasonable.
He could be reasonable, right? But it doesn't change the
get ragged.
No, you didn't let me finish. Excuse me. He could be reasonable, right? But he's not being reasonable. Because the reasonable thing to do, given the expectations of a conversation, would be to just answer the question.
False.
That's not false.
That is false.
Well, I'm not interested in you derailing. I still want to answer my question, Tonloc, right? I'm not going to let Leila, bail you out of this. Either you answer my question, or you dodge.
Don't let him push you around.
Well, but the problem is, you still haven't introduced this obligatory authoritative standard, why I should have to answer any questions from your worldview. You still haven't given it to me.
Because I'm not obligated to.
Oh shit.
Then I don't have to address anything you say.
No, you don't, you're right. You're right. You're not obligated to answer my.
checkmate.
Excuse me. You're not obligated to answer my question. That's correct. But if you refuse to answer the question, you just reveal yourself as a philosophically inept hack.
In whose worldview?
No, you don't, Tonloc. I that anyway.
Where do you get that from?
Coincidentally, the only people defending you right now are fellow Christians, right? I think it's a perfectly reasonable question that you're just refusing to answer for one of two possible reasons. Number one, you're just being an asshole, right? Or number two, you don't actually know what determinism is, which is very probable considering that when you first were asked the question, your first response was determinism, as if you were confused by the word. You're right, right? You don't have to answer the question. You can just you fucking local mute me if you really wanted to. You're just dishonest and you don't know the first fucking thing about philosophy, and you come into these rooms
Well, you know,
and act as if you understand like a fresh
Actually-
high school student's level of philosophy when you don't.
Tonloc, when he calls you an a-hole, he's actually giving you a compliment because without a-holes, there would be no life. Okay, so a-holes mean life. So he's actually calling you life-giving.
He says stupid things and still
How
takes
the
himself
fuck
seriously.
does that follow, Donkey?
Nice.
I don't think Darth
He's
ever says is
life-giving.
insightful. Never heard him make a single insightful statement.
Donkey, have you ever heard of colostomy bags?
The logic checks out.
Flex it in the ass.
But it's interesting. He talks about
Tonloc, just for my information, did you read your DMs?
Yeah, I read it. Yeah.
Add me to the group Christian DM.
Leak the DMs. What did he say, Tonloc?
Don't worry about it, but I still want to know.
You're obligated to tell us.
Well, I'll tell you what I wrote in the DM. I asked
Thank you.
Tonloc if he had received the FedEx delivery of the Kentucky Fried Chicken log yet.
The
Did you get your Yule log yet, Tonloc?
Yeah, I checked the tracking number, and it should be here in a couple of hours.
I'm still waiting for an answer to my question,
Think of the
Tonloc.
aroma of that Yule log filling the house with all your loved ones and company.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be lit, dude.
I
Leila-
went into the
Leila,
inside jokes of the Christians.
Layla, you're a Christian. Are you going to answer the question for Tonloc?
I think Christians can be determined.
How so?
Ask a Calvinist.
So you don't have an answer to the question.
I haven't researched it thoroughly. No.
But here's the thing.
I don't know.
He doesn't.
I don't think, but generally, if a large school of thought is permanent within
I just think
Christianity,
it's very
I'm
revealing,
assuming that
right,
it's
when I
compatible.
ask, it's very revealing that when I ask a direct, perfectly reasonable question, right, nobody can actually provide me a succinct, coherent answer without doing one of two
I
things.
just provided you an answer.
Either A, invoking the meta and saying, why do I have to answer that question? Or B, just resorting to, like, group dynamic and DMing each other about why they shouldn't have to answer the question, right?
I just answered your question, Pogan. What are you talking about?
You didn't answer my question. All you did was say,
did.
I need to research it further, right? You haven't
No.
answered
I'm
the
not.
original
I'm not
question
going
in
to
a
research it
satisfactory
right
way.
now. I might research it sometime in my life. I'm not researching it right now. And I just told you that I assume that it's compatible.
He doesn't.
Okay, so if you ask me a question and then my response to you is, oh, I'll look this up in 6 years when I have the time and get back to you, you think that's a satisfactory response to a question?
I would just not engage you anymore on the question, which is what I'm hoping you will do, is not engage me anymore on the question.
Okay, well, you have the option of not responding to me, but that doesn't change the fact that I haven't received a satisfactory answer to a reasonable question.
Poor Pogan. He didn't get satisfied with his answers.
So, Layla's local muted.
No.
Tonloc, do you want to answer my question, or do you want to continue demonstrating to the
I'm locally
room
muted.
that you don't have a single, like, coherent concept of any philosophical...
Holy shit! This guy is the atheist Darth Dawkins. That's interesting.
Pogan's substantially smarter than Darth Dawkins. Don't mistake the two.
I'm still waiting to hear. Why am I obligated to be honest in your worldview? I'm still waiting to hear it. You haven't.
Let's put it this way, Tonloc. You're not obligated to do jack shit, but if you refuse to answer the question, I think I can acutely demonstrate that you're just a total idiot.
There you go. If I'm not obligated to be honest in your worldview, then I don't have to entertain anything you say.
That's not what I said. I said you're not obligated to answer the question, right? But when I engage you in a philosophical or epistemological capacity, there's a mutual understanding between us that when we debate, we will adhere to concepts such as honesty and integrity and avoiding logical fallacies, right? So if you say to a reasonable question, why do I have to answer that question? You're doing two things simultaneously, like I said earlier, right? Number one, you're being a fucking idiot, and number two, you're demonstrating that you don't have a beginner's understanding of philosophy. So I'm going to ask you, listen to me. No, I'm not going to let you talk over me, right? I'm going to ask you the question one final time before I just conclude that you're an idiot, right? And go on my merry day. Why do you think determinism is incoherent?
Tonloc, if you're getting tired of the trolling, I'll be glad to talk with you in
you can conclude what you want. I'll sleep in.
Well, you better go follow your daddy, Tonloc.
Yeah, you better go follow the. Yeah, you better go follow the one guy in the room who will actually defend your stupidity. Oh, besides Leila, my mistake.
Don't worry, you destroyed this guy. So.
Tonloc, he's gonna be mad if you don't follow him. He's gonna say, "Oh, he's trying to stick around."
Don't confuse yourself, Tonloc. You've been You've been fucking embarrassed here. Like you should leave before I continue to just press you and further demonstrate that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Don't listen.
Don't worry about it, Pogan. I will not sleep soundly at night tonight. I'll just be thinking about you all day. You know?
Yeah, you should be thinking about the fact that I just shoved my cock up your ass.
Okay, now go see Darth.
Come on.
I didn't know you had those types of feelings towards me. I'm flattered.
Yeah, you should be flattered. I mean, I usually don't, fuck idiots, but I guess you're the exception.
That was pretty amusing to watch, Pogan. Nice to see you again.
It's more a show of dominance. It's not really something you should be flattered about, Tonloc.
Maybe you should smoke a blunt or something and calm down, dude.
I'm high right now. Are you kidding?
The raped woman says I was so flattered.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So are you done, Tonloc, or do I need to, embarrass you further? That's what I thought.
Come on,
Tonloc,
go
you're
see
not
Darth.
embarrassed. Here.
Go see Darth, man. He's doing that in you.
Everyone saw the rhetoric for what it was, but
so you're not going to leave?
You can freely go see Darth.
This is what the atheist does.
This is what the atheist troll does. He's a dishonest interlocutor. He trolls and gaslights. You've been put on the troll list, sir. Have a nice day.
Yeah, apparently.
Tonloc, don't you have an obligation to go suck your daddy's nuts?
I would engage Darth Dawkins when he ran from our debate, and then had an entire day to think about it.
You know, it's funny.
All he could come up with is, "What evidence do you have that it's not God?" Like he doesn't.
It's funny. It's funny. It's funny, Claire, that I wasn't even engaging Darth Dawkins, and he is the one who left.
Yeah.
He's afraid.
He saw an indication that there was someone who would be willing to argue with him that's smarter than him in the room, and that terrifies him.
Just think of how dumb you are, Tonloc, and you're his right hand, like his right ball.
His little fucking testicle right now. Do you actually think Darth Dawkins is smart? What's that say about you?
I'm usually a pretty reasonable, nice person, but I think I arrive at a point where you can only Tonloc and Darth shouting over everyone and dominating the conversation and basically bullying people into submission for so long before you need to fucking humble them. Because frankly, Tonloc, right? Let's be honest here. No, excuse me, right? You're just a discount Darth Dawkins. You do the same exact shtick, except you're not half as intelligent as him, and he's a total fucking moron. So you're fucking a lot.
Yeah, that just means that you're literally barely even human.
Pogan just did the exact same thing and does the same thing.
He's a yes man. He's a yes
man.
man.
You can attack me all day, all you want to. I'm just going to continue to laugh at you, dude.
Ton, you're just a yes man.
The only person in here who is defending you at this point is Leila, and that's because she's a Christian. Everyone else in here thinks you're a total... I don't understand why you're here.
Guys, let's be honest. I have something. I mean, Tonloc, man.
Hold on.
This happened, you know what? This happened because God is punishing you, man. Because you're acting like an asshole.
Mainly
you should repent for your sins.
Is engaging in really dishonest tactics.
I'm so depressed that I don't have your approval, dude. I'm so depressed.
You have my approval, but it's like approving the court jester to keep dancing, right? It's a very low level of approval. So I'm just here's the thing. I'm actually being the better man in explaining to you that you should leave because at this point, right, people are laughing at you. I don't care if you laugh at me, right? That's fine.
Pogan.
But there's 17 people in here, and so the odds are like what 16 to 1 against you. I just
all rhetoric.
Why are you addressing Pogan when you told him you wouldn't talk to him anymore?
I'm talking to.
I thought Leila wasn't going to engage.
Yeah, she's sniping at you because she's afraid to actually.
Because I really care what people on the internet think about me.
Leila's not used to actually being argued with. She's used to anyone who opposes her being muted. So kind of confusing.
Tonloc, just save face while you can, my man. It's over. I don't even I'm sure you're a perfect. One second. I'm sure you're a perfectly nice guy, right? But you don't know jack shit about philosophy.
Well, here's the thing. If you really think I'm that dumb, then stop interacting with me. It's that simple.
I'm going to continue interacting with you, right? Because you haven't gotten the fucking point, which is that you should stop talking, right? Sure. So you should stop talking and coming into rooms and bullying people and domineering the conversation, right? Because you don't understand the first thing about philosophy, right? You don't understand determinism. You barely understand apologetics. You definitely don't understand coherent atheist arguments because, like Darth, all you do is bully fucking people who are white belts and are just starting out with philosophy. So I don't have any sympathy for you. It's basically like you telling me I shouldn't pick on the playground bully, right? It's just meaningless drivel. I just don't get it.
Tonloc, let me ask you this.
It's interesting. You think I'm so stupid. You're so obsessed with me, dude.
Dude,
you're a yes man, and you need to learn that you're just a yes man. That's all you are.
I'm obsessed with Rosie O'Donnell, and she's pretty fucking stupid too.
Hold on. Why is it bad to be a yes man in your worldview?
Because if you're a yes man, you can't substantiate your own fucking arguments. You have no argument yourself.
And who says that's bad? You?
Yeah, I'm saying that right now to you.
I think God says that, man. I mean, you observe that from the outcome of your action. This is not good for you.
Hold on a sec, Tonloc. Do you accept the statement, "I'm not obligated to answer your question," as a way of not answering a question? Will you accept that?
Do I accept what again? Say that again.
The statement, "I'm not obligated to answer your question," because I've seen you actually kick people out of the room because they weren't answering questions and you said they were being evasive. But will you just simply accept it if they say I'm not obligated to answer the question?
Well, here's the thing. In my worldview, people are obligated to answer questions, but
what?
In this, if things are just matter of emotion and stuff like that, if they don't have any consistent absolute authority, then there's no real obligation to even ask, to even address anything. It doesn't.
Tom, listen to me. He's just further demonstrating he doesn't get it, right? Because if he was actually knowledgeable on the subject, what he would have said is, well, because there's a fact of the matter about which worldview is correct, and there's a disagreement regarding our worldviews, it's the case that only one of them could be correct. So what he should have said, if he was actually an intelligent human being, is, I can reject other worldviews because there's a fact of the matter and they're wrong, right? But he just thinks that other worldviews, until they explain what their moral values are unjustified in asking other worldviews questions, which is just, of course, incoherent nonsense. It's just drivel. Doesn't make any sense. I kind of I steel-manned Tonloc's argument there, right? Which I probably shouldn't have done, because now he's actually going to learn something and be a more effective.
Yeah, but then wouldn't that be more reason, Tonloc, for you to accept that statement? I'm not obligated to answer your question. But I mean, here's what I don't get, because you're the one saying that in this situation. However, you're saying that under your worldview, you're required, you are obligated.
So do you want to steal from my worldview? Do you want to justify?
Tonloc, why would you
Yes.
follow someone else's worldview just because you're talking to them?
Oh,
How does that
Lord.
make sense? Are you an idiot?
Let's run through this again. I am not obligated to answer your questions until you tell me why I am in your worldview. But my worldview obligates me to be honest and forthcoming. But I still don't think I should have to answer the question because you'd be borrowing from my worldview. Does this make sense to anyone? Is this coherent?
Wait, Tonloc, are you sure?
Barrel interlock.
Are you sure that under your worldview you're obligated to answer questions?
Yeah.
Right. So why aren't you answering the question?
Well, I just answered the question you just asked me, didn't I?
No. Your reply for like the last hour has been, "I'm not obligated to answer the question."
Okay.
Well, I'm asking you, under your worldview, why am I obligated to answer any question?
That doesn't. No, you're obligated under your worldview.
Listen, Tonloc, you don't get it, okay? It doesn't matter what our worldview is. You just conceded that under your worldview, you have a moral obligation to be honest, forthcoming, and answer fair, reasonable questions, right?
Oh,
so
no,
stop. You recall that excuse me, stop, right? You recall that we spent the last hour or so debating you over the fact that you refused to answer the question. So excuse me, I'm not done. Okay, you're muted, right? The conclusion we can come to is that when you say you're not obligated to answer the okay, there he goes. Whatever. I'll just finish my statement. When he says he's not obligated to answer the question, not only is he being a disingenuous shithead, he's also going against the moral values in his own worldview.
Yeah,
How does that make sense?
We understand. I guess I understand. I can't really speak for the whole channel. There's some dumb
He trapped him.
Well, it is because of your high IQ.
Yeah.
I feel like a fucking moron screaming into the microphone, right? But it's just so aggravating when you say, I'm not obligated to answer your question. And then 25 minutes later you say, I'm obligated to answer your question.
But it also doesn't make sense because
he's obligated to spread the good word, right?
In the case of in their room where people are evasive and they ban them or kick them or mute them for not answering questions, right? Supposedly, according to Tonloc, if we're all just matter in motion, then you're not obligated to answer questions. So why wouldn't he be accepting that? It's just a total mess.
Upload this to your channel, Tom.
Okay.
He's just a yes man. That's all he is. He can't substantiate himself.
Yeah, I want to watch this again later for masturbation material.
Oh my god, Pogan.
Should we go back in chat room 1?
I was gonna go up there, but I don't know. I think if too many people go up there, they'll
if you believe that we shouldn't encourage people who are blatant trolls to just simply ignore the transvestite.
Are you obligated to answer questions?
Yeah, Tonloc, you can answer my question because you said you were obligated to.
I'm talking.
Oh, sure.
Are you obligated? Are you obligated to answer questions?
Let's move
Antonio?
to chat room 4, and if these people persist to follow us, we'll have to file a complaint